And you're going to use your tailor's tacks to mark them. So line, I know I haven't ironed this, guys, so hang in there with me. There's just so much to do. All right. I'm going to mark my tailor's tack, so you can go in with your chalk or however, whatever works for you. I'm just going to do a little tack here, and this will help me since I haven't ironed it. There's one, and then go through and mark all of them. I'm doing the quick ones. I'm not doing the loop. And then do the third one. Okay. So after you've marked those, now we're ready to put on the snaps. Just for the buttons.
Should our snaps be large or like does the size not?
You can do whatever size you want. I think for demo with the teachers, we're talking that, because I have little bitty snaps and nobody could see what the heck I was doing.
Oh, makes sense.
So for us, it's better to use something visible. Okay, oh yeah, and obviously I need to have the matching side, and I have extra if you guys didn't bring your snaps today. Okay, so you have, they call this the female and the male side, like in hardware stores. I hate that. It's tacky, isn't it? So now so look, you have one side, for women it's right over left. So depending on how you want these, some people choose to have this pointy side on the body, and then this side on top, so that the point is not pressing on the body.
That makes sense.
That's getting super picky. I guess maybe that comes from lingerie, because when you do bodysuits, you have snaps in the crotch. Although they're the flat, clear snaps, but you still have a pointy side. So we always put the pointy side away from the body. So this is coming from a place of lingerie. I think I'm coming from a place of lingerie. So I don't think people do that, or they don't even think about that for shirts, do they? But I'm just going to do it because I'm used to it. Okay, so these are probably not going to line up because I'm doing this super fast. Okay, there's my other one. All right, so I'll just do one for an example, but I do think you guys are required to do 3. Yeah.
Is it okay if we do 3 different sizes?
Yes, absolutely. You can definitely do 3 sizes.
I like your lettuce hands.
Oh my gosh.
Totally.
Wow.
Wrong day.
That's so cool. You know, whenever I do a project, do you guys start wearing the item that you're doing? That always happens.
All my chiffons.
Or maybe we just start
One day
noticing.
when I have money, I will.
Watch, we'll all be wearing chiffon by the end of the week. Hey, thrift stores, like you could get a shirt for $1.
But you have to have $1, like that's.
That is a good point. You make a good point. So why did I go and put my muslin in the... Okay. I will just cut into this because I shouldn't have cut this in. Okay, so for the snaps, you're going to make a square, and I'm not going to use the selvage because it'll be very... So you'll need a square, and I'll need 2 squares. And you want your square to be double the size of your snap. You need it to be double. Don't make it huge. That actually makes it more cumbersome. This thing is going to bother me, so I'm just going to cut it off. Okay, so you want it to be a little bit bigger, and I'm going to then cut away at the corners to make like a circle.
Is this anything similar to like the covered buttons?
Yeah,
Because you
actually.
usually cut out a circle and then
Yeah, it is
Just
kind of
similar.
similar to covered buttons. Okay, so then you're gonna go, yeah, actually this part is similar too. So then you go through and you do
Okay.
your running stitch. Do you remember this one? Do you remember the rocking? So remember we learned this in our hand sewing techniques for tailoring. So you go in and you go 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. See how many I can get on here. 4, 5, and then you pull it. So a lot of times people don't want to do hand sewing because they think it takes so long, because it means you're not doing the right technique. It shouldn't take long. So it's 1, 2. Let's see, this one I'm probably going to do 3, and then 1. So the rocking is how I'm moving the needle. So you almost feel like you're bending the fabric. Okay, so then I'm going to take these and I'm going to pull them so you make a little hat for your snap, and then you're going to pull them, and do you see how I just popped the snap inside there? And then you just pull it like this, okay? So now, how do you get the snap to pop out? So what we're supposed to do is, so here, let me move this. So what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to push the threads so that they open and separate. Now, let me tell you, I have a big old snap here. So mine, I will not be able to pop this without cutting it. But you don't want to cut it. Normally what you want to do is you want to shove that little thing through. You can try using an awl. So I would go in the middle, mark the middle, and see if you can push the fabric threads around. There's no way this is going to, but I'm showing you what you would do with your... See how I opened it without cutting? I haven't cut any fibers. So this would work perfectly for these sizes. But this is too big, so I need to actually slice into it. So I'm going to cut an X, a tiny little X. Go get those sharpened. I would say I'm not even cutting a 1/16, to be honest. I'm like barely snipping in the little X. Yeah, maybe I need to cut a little bit more. You definitely don't want to cut a lot because it'll just start to shred, especially with if you use something. All right, I think I can get that. There we go. Okay, so then once you get that in, it should pop out like this. I know, isn't it pretty? And it's so easy. So from now on, you guys should just do covered snaps on everything. Okay, so now the next step is I actually will leave this tail very long. You know, the gathering tail that I did. And then I go in, I'm just like a super secure, and I'll go in and I'll rethread my needle, and then I'll just kind of grab those so they hold together. I don't think that's in our book. They just go in and they tie the knot, you know. So think about whatever way works for you. So see, and I suppose this is secure as well, right? Because you're going to sew it. So you could go in and tie the knot. I would tie 3 knots. And then look how pretty it is. And then you sew it on like a regular button. You have to feel for the holes. Okay, so the other side, this one is kind of weird. So, oh shoot, I have to cut my circle. I'm just going to go in. I'll do something circular. And then you want to go through the edges and rock that so that it goes faster. And I would probably only do a single thread. I wouldn't do a double. Don't like to do hand sewing with double threads unless I'm embroidering. That. Okay, and then pull the threads so you make that little hat, and then pop it in. Make sure that you do these in the correct way. I know some people flipped them the wrong way. Now for this side, there's a few ways to do it. Again, if I had a smaller snap, so I'm going to go in and I'm going to tie this. I'll tie it first. And then what I was saying is when I leave the tail long, I go in and I start grabbing all of this to flatten it. And I go around like clockwise. And I do like 8. That's 2. Now you don't want this to show. I'm just trying to flatten all this. Do not cut it off. Don't cut this excess off. You need it. It's what's keeping it from. Does this remind you of anything on a button? Yeah, you got it. So a lot of people get really worried about the extra fabric, but it just creates a shank for you. All right, so yeah, you can go around like that. How pretty, huh? Okay, so there's a few ways to do this. So my favorite way to do it, and it works better on the tiny ones, is to take this end and shove it through. And then what it does is it pushes it in the fabric. Do you see how it pushed it in? Mm-hmm. And it like you kind of have to do it a few times, and it starts to break down the threads for you. Mm-hmm. So you have to do it just a few times, and then so you don't actually need to cut that side. And sometimes I'll like make it work for me. It works much better on the smaller one, but you don't want to cut this one open. You just want to keep compressing it, and it'll start to. There it goes. Now it's snappable. And that's it. And so then you will sew those on like regular buttons. I know it, don't worry so much about the shank. Just try to sew it as best you can. So we've just sewn 4 points. I know that your snap some of them have more. This one has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This one has 8. You only want to sew the 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So not too bad, right? Okay, so and they're actually kind of fun. So same process to make the little blouse for the button and the buttonhole. So you guys know how to put on the buttons. Remember to use many layers of thread. I guess I should show you. So when you're doing the button, you want to start off with 2 strands of thread. Take the end and rub it along the needle so you can sharpen the edge. I don't know if this is going to go through.
So we do 1 in chiffon and then 1 in woven fabric.
Yep.
That's national woven. Cool.
Yeah, and it's on the sheet. This needle's too tiny. It's crashing. But you want to do many layers so that you go through 1, 2 times. And then remember to wrap a shank around the base of the button and then tie it off. And it should look very neat. Okay, so when you have that, you want to do your buttonholes. So I know that these buttonholes are going horizontal, which might work for a longer placket, but let's practice this like our chiffon shirt. Our placket is like literally an inch. So these would be too wide. So we're going to do our chiffon shirt buttonholes up and down. So let's this sloper is used for other stuff as well. So even though these are going horizontal, let's please do our buttonholes
How long
vertical.
is the length for the button?
It depends on your button. So this is when I'm supposed to switch the machine.